And welcome back to another gig log. This is Nate from In the Mix Late Sound. We're starting our first gig at the Steel Pub again for 2025. And with a new year, we have a couple of new items that we're rolling out tonight. So back here at the Steel Pub, we're working with our band. And the nice part about tonight is that I'm not doing any lighting. They hired in another lighting guy who's loading in behind me there. So that will make things a little bit easier, quicker setup and breakdown for me. So we'll go ahead and we'll detail out the setup as we go. We got everything loaded in, we're parked. And with that, we're going to go ahead and start setting up the stage. And a little video of the setup here. So for tonight, we're running 3 monitors and 3 in-ears. You can see the lighting rig is going up. Here is the redone rack. So we'll go get a tour of this in a little bit after we get things set up because the band's starting to show up. And so as far as speakers in here, we have our JBL 118-inch subs along with the Meyer X40s. And we're running 3 wedges and 3 in-ear mixes. Pretty straightforward. So let's talk about the new rack and how this is set up. So some of this looks familiar from the old rack, but what we did is, you can see, of course, the elephant in the room is the wing rack, which we've set up. We've already tested at 1 gig that we didn't get video for, so tonight is its second voyage out into live sound, and everything is working great so far. We just did line checks for the monitors and the in-ears and the mains, so we're all set there. Still racked up, we have our 4 channels of Audix wireless. We have a new power sequencer in here that with a voltage meter, so we can see the voltage that's running. And then we have, again, our router and our little mini computer with our touch screen to run backing tracks and have some wired control here. Now, a little bit different too is we went from a 10U rack to an 8U rack, and this one is a medium depth, so it's only about 12 inches deep. And down below we have a Cyberpower UPS, again another power sequencer, and then we'll come around to the back here real quick. So we'll start at the bottom. So we have another power strip here that's used for monitor outs. So there's about 6 outlets there. And we do have a voltage and amp meter on there so we can keep an eye on our current, how much those wedges are pulling. Then we have our DN 4816O, which we've had racked up by itself and used on occasion when we needed some extra reach. But now it's racked up here, so we have a DMX cable coming out of Stage Connect into the back of the DN, and this is running our 16 outputs. So our mains are coming out of 13, 14, 15, 16. So it's mono, and then left, right. And then we have our 3 monitors coming out of 1, 2, and 3. The in-ears are racked up down here. And I'll come back to that rack in just a moment. But that is plugged into AES-C in the back of the rack here, the back of the wing. And then we have our channels for our wireless in the front plugged in, and then we're going to plug in the back here. We have a little USB light to keep everything illuminated so we can see what we're doing. And then up at the top we have another just rack mount power strip for some convenience outlets based off of the UPS. Now coming down to the in-ear rack, we have it sitting on its side. Of course, we have the external antenna clamped on to the rack. I'll show you that. But basically the way we run our in-ears is we have 3 PSM 300s, and then we have it racked with a older SD8 that I had sitting around. So that way I can just run AES right into the rack here, out of the outputs of the SD, go into the PSMs, and that's how they get their feeds. And again, I'm running them on stereo buses 9, 10, and 11 out of the wing. And then we simply have our antenna for the in-ears clamped onto the side with a flex clamp. And here's our front of house spot again. We've got a little table out front of the stage, and we've got our Waves FIT controller, running the computer with mixing station, and we've got our custom channels, what we think we're going to have tonight, set up. And we've got our faders to match. So now we're just waiting on the band to set up or get ready, and then we'll get a sound check and off we'll go. Here we are, set 1, dialed in and ready to go. All right, so we're on our first break, and things are going really well with the wing. The wing is sounding really good. I can't say for sure it's preamps and all of that, but I'm really enjoying mixing on the wing here. Now, everybody has their setups. The biggest thing to get your head around is always the routing on this. So I kind of took a different tact probably than most people. I think most people are naming their sources and then having that go into their channels when they assign them. But for years, I've kind of been working off of a festival patch, you know, so I basically always have roughed in like drums, then instruments, then vocals at the end. And with 48 channels, I mean, that gives me a lot of leeway for the bands that I'm working with. So basically what I've done is I have, you know, all my templates for each of the channels. So kick in, kick out, you know, bass, bass mic, percussion, instruments. But what I can do is on the back panel, I can patch in the local channels wherever I need to. So kind of following along this structure. But then once I know what input everything is in, I can just assign it to the channels that I need to. And then once I have that set, then what I can do is custom layers to just pull in the instruments that I'm patched to. So for now, that's the way I'm working it. Again, as I get more into the mixer, I might change up how I do that. But now basically end of the night, I'm just going to unassign all the locals to the channels here. You know, maybe do a reset, not reconfigure the whole board because I have all these channels in here, but you know, just take the assignments off. And then for the next gig, you know, kind of start all over with, you know, whatever I end up patching 1 through, well, it's 24 local inputs on here. And then we always have our DL32s if we ever need to expand that out and so on. But, you know, I'll just patch in 1-to-1. And then over here, just assign the source to whatever's actually on that particular channel. So we'll see. The power supplies are working great, just double checking the voltage and all of that. And then on the back here, I'm really liking this voltage meter here because I can keep track of the amperage that's running through. Now this is just 3 wedges, and you know, I've been keeping an eye on it here, and the amperage has been a lot lower than I was expecting it to be. So assuming the meter is correct, these monitors really do not draw a lot unless I guess I'm really pushing them, which I guess I'm not tonight, and levels are pretty even. But always good to have that little meter to, you know, pop in on, take a look real quick and see what we're drawing on the circuit. other than that, everything's going great. It's nice not to have to worry about the lighting at all. The light show here tonight has been pretty awesome. A lot of fun. He's got the geysers and that kind of stuff out here, but yeah, all I have to worry about is my channels here. That's it. So I will run through the stage real quick. So we just have a good old, let me see, it's here somewhere on the stage. Keyboards are plugged into a radial DI in the back. There we go. There's the old radial. So we've got keys, wireless vocal. She's on in-ears. Then we got the lead guitarist and lead vocal, wireless vocal. And he also has a wedge and in-ears. Then the bassist over here, just a wireless mic and a wedge. Here's the back line. Just a bass amp we're taking the DI out of. And then we've got the amp that we have mic'd up with the Sennheiser 906. And then the drum kit, we didn't mic cymbals or overheads. It's not needed in this room. The cymbals come through loud and clear, bleeding through the vocal mics, and just carrying in the room in general. But we have mics on all the drums and the kick. And then we just have, to save some room, we've got the hi-hat here, just mic'd underneath with a, I believe it's a Hercules clamp, and then a KSM Shure condenser on the mic from underneath. And then we've got our DB Technologies. This is the 15 model up front. The two up there are the 10s. As you can see, it's a pretty decent crowd in here tonight. Everybody's in a good mood. Everybody's up and dancing. There's a birthday party here tonight. It's a good night. Good gig to start off the new year here at the Steel Pub. We're on our second break. One more set to go. Everything's going great. So the nice part about having the shallower rack, so they call this one a medium-sized rack. It's about 12-inch deep. I think I mentioned before. So that it's very easy to get to all of the back panel of the Behringer Wing, which is a little bit different for me because I used to have the DL32 and the X32 core racked up and everything was front facing. But it's not so bad. I'll have to just get used to it. Having that little USB light in here makes a huge difference. It's like cheap light, doesn't cost much of anything, like off of Amazon. And it does the trick though. Just plugged into the power sequencer up front there. And that's it. Other than that, we have just a network, USB from the computer, and then stage connect to the DN down below here that we're taking all of our outputs from. Now, if I need be, there's 8 outputs here on the wing rack. I could always run off of that. Actually, for this gig, I probably could have just run off of there, especially since I'm using the in-ears there with the SD8. Another quick note here, another new item for 2025 is this little flex clamp, or flexi clamp, I believe it's called, available online from a lot of major stores. Actually has a nice gooseneck to it here. But main reason I picked this up is for those bands that I do use in-ears for. It was just always an extra pain, like grabbing another stand to put the antenna on here. I always use an external antenna. The little 1/4-inch wave antennas that come with them don't work very well. So once I've gone to the paddle antenna here, it's worked out great. But it's always finding room, setting up another stand, running the cable like all over the place. Here I can just clamp it to the little lip of the rack case here, and we're good to go. And it's a quick little breakdown. Now what I might add to this here, because it's screwed in, and I fit the paddle antenna in the rack case with the in-ears there, or the PSMs.
What I might do is get a quick disconnect for it. And then that way I can just push the button, pull it off, pack it up, and put it away. But this flex stand here is probably going to live in the case along with the antenna. But these clamp-on microphone stands intriguing me more and more. I'm liking them. I started off on the drum kit here. Again, for these shows, it was always, especially single band shows where I'm not rotating kits and all of that, I was always, again, lugging along another mic stand. And honestly, for live, miking the hi-hat under, I think works out well for a lot of these gigs. So what I'm doing, everything's a trade-off, right? But what I'm doing is saving on bringing an extra stand. And I've just been clamping directly to the hi-hat stand, miking underneath, and it works out great. End of the night, just unclamp it. So, little time savers like that. Again, not having to bring multiple stands. Little flexi stand here with the clamp on it. And who knows, maybe I'll come up with a couple other things that we'll be able to clamp on mics too. Another change to the rack as I was racking everything up. When I first got the wireless here and racked it up, I was being lazy and I had the antennas for both dual racks here. So there were actually 4 half-wave antennas out of here. And when I posted it on YouTube, some people were saying, antenna farm. And, I guess like they say, it works until it doesn't. Well, it always has worked for me, so it wasn't a problem. But to lessen that antenna farm and take away from, what might be a future issue down the road, what we ended up doing is just getting some passive combiners. And now we just have the single pair of antennas in here now. And then the only other antennas here are for the Wi-Fi, racked up and ready to go.
Thank you.
So just some follow-up from the night. We were able to get out of there in about, we got everything packed up in about 45 minutes. Of course, by the time we got around to getting our vehicle out and getting all of that staged, I'd say probably about an hour, plus working around the lighting crew as well. So not too bad packing up. Again, a lot easier when you don't have to do lights. So light show was great by that company. Really enjoyed watching them, what they do. Got a lot of compliments on the mix tonight. The Wing, once you get an understanding of how it works, is really a lot of fun to mix on. And the routing possibilities with that just blow the X and M series out of the water. Just being able to route different things, the stage connect. I'm looking forward to seeing what I can do with the new technology. But just the routing and the power of the effects. I was using some of the TC effects that were in there for reverb and the stereo delay. Sounded really good tonight. So again, lots of compliments on the mix. The band was happy, and we're packed up and we're ready to get on to the next one. So 2025 off to a great start. Thanks again for watching. If you have any questions about the Wing Rack or how I put my rack together, I'll be showing more in future videos, but please feel free to comment below. Thanks again for subscribing and watching, and on to the next one.